Hello, good morning to all. Welcome to my YouTube channel Rajni Classes. Today I am before you with a new topic, monitoring of microbial contaminants. Monitoring of microbial contaminants includes subtopics, sampling strategies and sample preservation techniques, monitoring techniques for microbial contaminants that present in air, water, soil and so microorganisms, as we know, are present everywhere and influence throughout our every major environment. It is fundamental to all ecosystems, providing the biotic foundation upon which all life exists. In many cases, opposite is true. It may be useful, it may be harmful. So regardless of whether they influence human health and welfare favorably or unfavorably, microorganisms are capable of profound influences on life as we know it. So it so for this methods are needed for the sampling and detection of. So the first question that come in our mind is what is microorganism? Microorganisms are ubiquitous and represented by diverse populations and communities, defined as being individually too small to be seen with the naked eyes. So, microorganisms are the organisms that present everywhere and it is individually so small that we can see it only with the help of aided eyes, like viruses, bacteria, some protozoans like amoeba, fungi, algae, etc. So first thing is viruses. These are the smallest and ultra microscopic microorganisms. Not necessarily meet the criteria for being considered a living organism. That's why we call viruses as a link between biotic and abiotic things. Means viruses is a link between living thing and non-living thing, because when viruses are outside the living organism, it is non-living. It is not able to metabolize outside the living being. Viruses may infect and replicate inside living cells. Uh, for example, calciviruses such as Norwalk viruses can be transmitted via ingestion of contaminated water. There is two type of viruses that goes inside the living organism through contaminated water. When a human ingests contaminated water, this Norwalk virus enter the intestine, attach, infect, and replicate cells. Next thing is bacteria. After the virus, there is bacteria. This is very small, simple, single cell organism. Genetic material is not enclosed in a nuclear membrane. As genetic material is not enclosed in nuclear membrane, this bacteria classified under the prokaryotes. And it also include the in prokaryotes there is also eubacteria and archaea. Next thing is actinomycetes. First thing was virus, second thing was bacteria, and third thing is actinomycetes. This is also a type of bacteria. These prokaryotic microbes consist of long chain of single cells. It consists of long chain of single cell which allow them to exist in a filamentous form. Okay, in this form, filamentous form. Uh, Structurally, from the exterior, actinomycetes resemble miniature to fungi and a specialized subgroup of bacteria. So actinomycetes is a chain-like structure. It exists in the filamentous form, and by outside it resemble with the structure of fungi. This actinomycetes is very important for production of antibiotics such as streptomycin. A special type of smell that coming from the soil by biodegradation of complex organisms is coming from the soil just because of this geosmin, which is the compound that give uh, spoilets characteristics of characteristic odor. In contrast to bacteria, protozoa are unicellular eukaryotes, meaning that they have characteristics organelles. like mitochondria, plasma membrane, and nuclear envelope. So protozoa are the eukaryotic organisms. Bacteria bacteria is prokaryotic, whereas protozoa are eukaryotic organisms because it have well organized nuclear structure like mitochondria, eukaryotic ribosomal RNA, endoplasmic reticulum, chloroplast, and flagella. In recent years, protozoan pathogens such as Giardia, Cyclospora, Cryptosporidium, and Microsporidia have emerged to become primary concern with regard to contamination of drinking water. Next thing, after the microorganisms, what is microbial contaminants? So, in simple term, microbial contaminants refer to the non-intended or accidental introduction of microbes such as bacteria, yeast, mold, fungi, viruses, prions, protozoa, or their toxin and byproduct. These are different types of microbial contaminants. Microbial contaminants in form of bacteria, in form of viruses, parasites, or fungi. So how can we detect this microbial contamination? This microbial contamination can be detected by the toxic residues. The toxic residues in food and beverages samples. We can test these by ELISA assay test, real-time PCR test, or nutrient plate and agar plate test. For detection of pathogenic bacteria, the most important or the best method is the ELISA test is available. Sources of contamination, how these contaminants come. There are various ways by which these contaminants come into the environment. Basically, these are of two types. First one is the direct contamination, second one is the cross contamination. Direct contamination means the microbial component coming directly from the air, water, or soil just because of poorly maintained heating condition, ventilation condition, yeah, ventilation and air condition, that is HVAC system. Second thing is cross contamination. Cross contamination is just because of passing of microorganisms or other harmful substances indirectly from one sample to another through improper or unsterilized equipment. This is the diagram that shows main sources of contamination in food industries and most common bacteria detected in each agri-food industry. The microorganisms may come from the water, may come from the livestock facilities. From the water, the raw materials that we are taking from the water like the fish and insects that we are taking from the water, or the fruits, or from livestock facilities, cow, buffaloes, goat, pigs, peacocks. The different types of bacteria, or we can say microorganisms, come to food industry like Vibrio species come in seafood, Salmonella species in seafood, in fresh products Salmonella species, E. coli species, and by dairy products we can contaminate it by E. coli, Bacillus, and monocystogens. And again through meat of these pigs or other cattle we got contaminant like E. coli or monocryptogens. By poultry product we can get Salmonella species, E. coli, and many other. So food products get infected by all these microorganisms, and these may again spread to one another. Next thing is sampling procedure for microbial characterization. What are the sampling procedure for microbial characterization? Is the two-dimensional sampling scheme. Two-dimensional sampling pattern include random sampling pattern, transect, two-stage, and grid sampling. Two-stage sampling involve dividing an area into the regular subunits like this area, and first we divide this area into regular subunits called primary units, which are then randomly we can take sample from here, here, or here, here, or systematically. Means again within that we can make a grid, and one sample we can take from here, one sample we can take from here, one from here, and one from here. So some typical in typical condition, two-dimensional sampling is required. This two-dimensional sampling is useful for mapping a large field area when little is known about the variability. For microbial monitoring, two-dimensional sampling does not give any information about change in microbial population with depth. That's why three-dimensional sampling is required. Sampling method for surface soil. As for water, sampling method is little modification in sampling method is required for surface soils. First, we will take bulk soil samples through soil or soil auger. Soil auger is a more convenient method, or we can say more precise method than the soil, because they ensure that samples are taken to exactly the same depth at each occasion, on every occasion. In taking sample for microbial analysis, consideration should be given to contamination that can occur as a agar is pushed into the soil. So for minimization of this contamination, one can sterile spatula each time before taking the samples. So the cleaning procedures involve washing the agar with water, then rinsing it with 75% ethanol or 10% bleach. Uh, Now come on the microbial analysis. Microbial analysis soon be performed as soon as possible after collection of any type of samples, whether it is taken from the soil, water, or air. The first step in microbial analysis of surface soil sampling involves sieving through 2 mm sieve. So for soil analysis, for microbial analysis from soil sample, first step is to sieve that soil through 2 mm mesh to remove large stones and debris. After that, subsurface samples obtained by coring are either immediately frozen or sent back to the laboratory as an intact core or processed at coring. There are different strategies and methods for water samples also. It is comparatively easy to take water samples as compared to the soil, because amount of water collected depending on this sample being evaluated, and it can vary from 100 ml to potable drinking water collected from water utilities to 1000 liter for groundwater samples. Before microbial analysis, water samples should be cooled at 48 degrees centigrade as soon as possible after collection, and analyzed for bacteria. Depending on the type of microbial analysis that will be performed, samples can also be frozen. For larger microbes, including bacteria and protozoan parasites, samples are often filtered to trap and concentrate the microorganisms. This involve filtration. This involve or does this filtration process involve 0.45 mm membrane filter. We can take coarse woven fibrous filter in case of protozoan parasites also. Filters are available for analysis of microorganisms. Strategies and methods for air sampling. There are different methods for air samples, or the sampling of microbes that present in the air. And there are two main devices that commonly used for microbial air samples. These are all glass impingers, that is AGI 30, and the Anderson 6-stage impaction sampler. Anderson 6-stage impaction sampler, that is the 680G. Processes impingement. The AGI 30 operate by drawing air through an inlet that is similar in shape to the human nasal passage. As the nasal passage drawing the air inside the body, same way AGI 30 drawing the air through atmosphere. This air is transmitted through a liquid medium where the air particles become associated with the fluid and subsequently trapped, and the flow rate of that is 12.5 liter per minute at the height of 1.5 meter, which is a average breathing height of humans. This is easy to use. This AGI 30 is easy to use, inexpensive, portable, reliable, easily sterilized, and has good biological sampling efficiency. Example of sampling medium can range from 0.85% NaCl, which is a basic osmotically balanced sampling medium that would prevent osmotic stock of recovered organisms. But the major drawback of this method is that there is no particle size discrimination. Means the a larger particle size of the microbes as well as lower particle size of microbes all are collected. Next thing is impaction. Impaction can be done by the Anderson 6-stage impaction air chamber. Uh, 6 stage separate particles based on their size. This is the sixth stage. At first stage, this shows the first stage, the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth stage of Anderson impaction air sampler. Air enter through the top of the sampler. Air enter through here, and larger particles are impacted upon the surface of Petri plate on stage 1. So at stage 1, the particles that having greater size or having larger size stick here. After that, smaller and smaller size of particles come in subsequent mesh or subsequent filter. Uh, and the particles goes up to stage 6. There are another methods for sampling of microbial contaminants from air is centrifugation, filtration, and deposition. Centrifugal sampler use circular flow pattern to increase the gravitational pull within the sampling device to deposit particles. Uh, the cyclones or tangential inlet or return flow sampling device is the most common type of centrifugal sampler device. It is relatively inexpensive, easily sterile, and portable. But the main drawback is it lacks high biological sampling efficiency and particle sizing capabilities. Second is filtration and deposition. Filtration and deposition are both widely used for microbial sampling for cost and portability reasons. Filter sampling involves passage of air through a filter, and this filtration require a vacuum source. Membrane filter can have a variable pore size, although smaller pore size restrict flow rate. So it is not highly recommended because of its low overall sampling efficiency and desiccation of microbial cell. Third thing is deposition sampling. This is the very easiest and cost effective sampling. What we can do here, merely opening an agar plate and exposing it to the atmosphere. Okay. So the microorganisms that come and stick on that agar plate, we just calculate that. The drawback of this method is it depends on the impaction, gravity, setting, and other depositional forces. Uh, Next thing is method for characterizing microorganisms and microbial properties in water and soil. How can we characterize microorganisms and microbial properties in water and soil? We can characterize microorganisms or microbial properties by two ways. One way, by counting the microorganisms present there, means by microbial number, or by microbial biomass, means how much biomass of microorganisms are present in that samples. So there are broadly two methods for knowing the properties of, for estimating the properties of microorganisms present in water, soil, or air. First one is the microbial number and second one is the microbial biomass. As we know, this microbial number or biomass is directly proportional to the microbial health or heterotrophic plate count method, and second uh, microscopic direct count method. Direct count method means here we are directly counting the number of microorganisms present on the slides or petri plate or in nutrient medium. It is constructed in a manner that the rulets and this can only be possible in ruled slide when the slide is employed. Means this type of slide, this can be divided into different segments at equal interval, and only we can calculate the number of microorganisms present here through ruled slide. So we can do by this also. The Peterhof uh, the Peterhof Hauser counting chamber is for that. It provide number that this chamber provide numbers that are higher than the culturable medium, because the direct count includes viable population of microorganisms as well as non-viable population of microorganisms, viable but non-culturable type of organisms that are present in that medium. So this is the Peterhof Hauser's counting chamber. This is here there are different grids, like grids are present on the graph paper, and grid with 25 large squares are present, and we can count the microorganisms present in each square and then extrapolate that number in the total area of the microorganisms present in. Direct microscopy of soil microorganisms involves separating the organisms from soil particles. Means it is easy to evaluate microorganisms that are present in water. Just to take a drop of water and spread on the slide, that divided into different grids or different we can say chambers. But in case of soil microorganisms, it is important to separate soil microorganisms from the soil particles. For this, first we take the soil sample and then suspended that soil sample into the NaCl, sodium chloride solution. Usually 10 gram of soil into 90 gram of saline solution, and vortexed or shaken vigorously to separate organisms from soil particles and to disrupt soil aggregates. Then known volume of soil suspensions, usually zero point 0.1 ml, is then placed on a glass microscope slide or filtered onto the membrane, is stained to provide contrast, and examined with the microscope. This method was given by Jones and Mollison in 1948. So by this method we can count soil microorganisms directly. For enhancing the efficiency of this method, means for enhancing the efficiency of direct count method or direct count microscopic method, organisms must be stained to provide contrast. The most widely used stain for direct microscopic bacteria is acridine orange, that is AO, and this acridine obtaining acridine orange direct count. Common examples of fluorochromes with their excitation and emission. That second method is microbial biomass. First method was microbial number. Microbial number we can do by the heterotrophic colony count method, and then direct count method. Then next thing is microbial biomass method. This can be done by chloroform fumigation and extraction method. And the principle behind this chloroform fumigation extraction method is the addition of chloroform kills the indigenous microorganisms. The dead microbial biomass become available for microbial consumption, and after fumigation of a soil sample, a starter culture from a similar sample of non-fumigated soil is added and mixed. So comparison of this fumigated, chloroform fumigated sample and non-fumigated sample is the basic principle behind the estimation of microbial biomass. During the microbial consumption of dead biomass, CO2 is produced. The amount of CO2 generated is then used to calculate the quantity of microbial biomass that was originally present in soil. This is the formula by which we can calculate the microbial biomass, Fc minus UFC divided by Kc. This FC means fumigated soil samples, CO2 produced from the fumigated soil sample. Fumigated means the sample where we have added the chloroform, and UFC means the non-fumigated soil sample, the sample where we don't have used the chloroform, and K is the fraction of biomass carbon mineralized to CO2. Usually the value of Kc is often listed as 0.412 point. Then next thing is characterization and identification of microorganisms. After extraction of microorganisms from samples from environment, either from the air or soil or water, it is important to characterize and identify that microorganism. So for that we usually do PCR reaction for amplification of 16S ribosomal DNA sequence and automated DNA sequencing of the resulting PCR products. Following this, sequence comparison with known bacteria can be conducted using computer software sequence analysis such as BLAST. So this is the method by which we can characterize and identify the microorganisms in the soil and water sample. Then state-of-the-art approaches of characterizing microbial properties and activities. There are new methods also available for characterization of microbial properties or characterization of microorganisms. These are equifluorescence microscopy technique, electron microscopy technique, confocal scanning microscopic technique. There are physiological methods also. These are some microbial methods. There are physiological method also, carbon respiration method, radio label tracer method, and enzyme assay method. There are immunological method also, immunoassay, immunocytochemicals assays, immunoprecipitation assays, and nucleic acid based method like the polymerase chain reaction, reverse transcriptase reaction, gene probes, denaturing gradient gel electrophoresis, and plasmid profile analysis.